Welcome, everybody, to our 14th Guild community call. We do one about every 2 weeks. So it's almost been 28 weeks, I guess, but it definitely has been more since Guild. But, you know, heck it. Welcome, everyone. I'm Reka, the founder of Guild XYZ. This is Hannah, our wonderful community lead. And we are talking about today fully Guild. So lately, as you could notice, we had a lot of guests coming over to the community events, partially because of our integrations, but also we just wanted you to meet them because they're amazing. But today we really wanted to stay on our own little end of the spectrum or whatever. I couldn't think of a better analogy, sorry guys. Anyway, so we really wanted to take some time to talk about Guild, specifically because we've been working really hard on some new features and we want to make sure you all know about them. So this is a very Guild-focused call. It's going to start with some community updates, and then we're going to go into our new developments, new integrations, a few words about those, and then also a little bit about why we build so much and why we ship this much lately, and the most major bugs that are going on right now, so you're more aware, although Hannah has been really diligent of letting you know in the bot status update channel as well. So we're very transparent if we have like a bug or some integration has some hiccups, but we want to make sure to mention those here as well. As usual, we're also live streaming on Twitter, so if anyone is joined on Twitter Space, very, very welcome. If you'd like the app of participation, though, it's gonna be through our Discord server, so hop over there if you'd like to participate in that. And as usual, the call is being recorded and we upload it to our private YouTube playlist, which we've been saying every time, and very sorry that we've been lacking with the updates there. I think the last community call that's been uploaded is the 9th. So we just talked about how we're going to streamline this process because for some reason we distributed this small task among 3 of us. So that's why it's been a little way too slow. But we found a solution, so we're going to batch update them really soon. And you can be on the lookout for more videos on our YouTube channel from now on because it's very important and it helps us to stay updated, asynchronous as well. So we don't want to neglect this functionality. So yeah, let's get into the community updates. What do you think?
Oh yeah, we are working on it on the YouTube uploading, like how small the task looks like, but it's still like since we were doing it the 3 of us, it was like postponed all the time. So yeah, no worry guys, we're working on it.
Okay, I'll jump into the community updates. So our first is a little bit of numbers. So things have been going pretty well, and even though market conditions are a little bit sad, we've been growing diligently. Our guild has over 53,000 members right now, which is kind of crazy when I think about how happy we were with 500 very recently. And the Discord has more. It has almost 58,000 members right now, which is interesting how, as you can see, 5,000 people have never been on the guild site but got into the server with the server invite. So that's an interesting metric to look out for, or something to digest. It's kind of related to our new community strategy implemented soon as well. And also some more spiky numbers about very minor but still important guild metrics is that there's 120 guilds with more than 1,000 members. It's 120 communities with more than 1,000 people in it. That's pretty crazy. There's 31 guilds with more than 10,000 members, and there's 2 guilds with over 100,000 members in it. So that's some growth for you. It's been a wild year to say the least. We're really happy about it, and also these are very I don't know how many of you are product builders yourselves, but these are very vague metrics, although the number of guilds with number of members is getting there, but we're also working on improving our metrics, which I am really looking forward to sharing with you later. And about the community strategy that we've been talking about for like 2 months now for sure. We had some blockages in the implementation in a sense of even Guild, which we are very passionately building this mega membership management tool that supposedly serves everything. We still had some questions when we were thinking through all the processes that we want to implement. We still had some pretty interesting things we run into with Hannah that we thought through, and we're like, okay, how do we go around this? And some of them include like how to make sure people that we grant like roles that grant them permissions to be in more of the depths of the community who have just joined the server today is a pretty interesting question, but also making sure that people who are relevant to be in the depths of the community, even if they joined the server today, can access that. So that's just one example of all the logical equation jump roping that we're doing right now. But we have found an MVP that's going to help save the server a little bit and help ease conversations and kind of set us on the path for more balance in the server. And we're going to start implementing this strategy tomorrow at the same time as the community call. So around 1 p.m. ET if you're US, or 7 p.m. CET if you're Central European. The rest is, please compare it to this. These will be kind of just a change in the permissioning. No one will be kicked from the server, but permissions will change. So tomorrow, please visit our guild and check out what changed for you, or if you gain new roles or lost some roles, or can see more channels or can see less channels. Don't be worried. This is just the first implementation, and yeah, we'll see how it goes and we'll move in from there. They're not going to be like major changes, but still a help in moderation and kind of keeping a better, cozier space in the community. So
yeah, we, as you said, like trying to keep it like as cozy as we can. Lately our server kind of started like hibernating, if I can say it like this, because we got a lot of ticket issues, kind of like these kind of things on our general chat, and we want to create a safe space for everyone who is interested in our product and perhaps want to have a developer discussion or something like this. So we are aiming to create this space for you all. And with that, we are not only introducing the new community structure tomorrow, but we also kind of on the edge of starting new kind of community hangouts. And as being said, I would like to say it, in the last like few weeks ago, I did a quick survey in the community, like what kind of events we should do, like what our community members are interested in. And actually quiz nights won. So there's going to be a new kind of community hangout, which is going to be trivia nights starting next week. I already prepped the announcement, so it's going to come to your way very soon. So I found the bot for it and everything is ready. So we're going to test it out next week. So stay tuned. There's going to be more details coming.
I don't know about you, but I'm really looking forward to these quiz nights. I remember, I don't know how many of you remember, but we had I don't even remember what we celebrated, but we did have a Star Wars themed quiz night in Party Space, which is this metaverse gathering event space for the guild folks, and it was kind of funny. So I'm looking forward to quiz nights. They're really fun.
Oh yeah, it was the 4th of May, the traditional like Star Wars Day, if I can say it like this. So it was so fun. It's gonna be kind of similar, but it's gonna be on our Discord server this time. So stay tuned.
Sounds good. Looking forward. Next little community update is we're also working on some bounties, one of which will be in partnership with Parallel ID, around for especially strictly for community builders who are giving KYC as a requirement for their members. But we'll talk more about it when it comes around. But this is one bounty that we're working on, and we're probably going to publish it on the Worker Wonderverse as we did with the previous bounties as well. So we'll notify you how the progress is going on this one. And then I'll jump into the product updates because those are spicy and lengthy, so I don't want to waste more time. Let's jump into it. So product updates. First things first, a little bit of me talking about why we ship this much right now. The short version is we actually favor and would like to see more interoperability in the space. And I know it's a good buzzword. I know it just sounds cool, but it actually has meaning, which we'll like to embody here with Guild, to be able to use a lot of data and a lot of optionalities as the other products and protocols and platforms offer, and Guild being the connective tissue between these. So connective projects or connecting other projects has so many like actual benefits. To kind of expand on that, one of them, which is a really tangible one, and we've talked more about this platformlessness or platformless communities, platform agnostic communities before. That's kind of our gig, what we're working on to enable at Guild. It means that the community is portable across platform and not bound to a single one. For example, like Discord and how communities have been bound to there for the longest time, or just one asset that everybody has in common. It can be more independent in their community identity, and the individuals, the members, can be more independent in their own identity. And the permissions will no longer be derived from this singular centralized data source, which are platforms, but it can be more on another abstraction level, which is the community itself or a guild, which is kind of cool. And this kind of portable community structure saves a lot of headache from everyday management issues, but also when, for example, a website goes down or is unusable anymore, or the community wants to migrate to something that suits them better, it's going to be way easier, like a few clicks to just do that and not lose the membership, the data, the reputation, the skills that have been established in that community before that. So this is pretty big. This is probably one of my favorite reasons. This is very tangible, but also on a more technical level. With the migrations or just using a platform and using an application, the data won't be left behind anymore, and it won't belong to a single monolithic structure. And a lot of this information can be actually shared between different platforms programmatically, which is super interesting. That it's an automatic process. It is like aiding this manual mess that is community management sometimes. Another reason is so everybody creates data when you're on the internet, if you like it or not, just by visiting websites, liking things, retweeting, joining communities, texting, whatever you're doing, you're creating some form of data. And this data, ownership wise, is usually in the hands of these platforms that you're creating them on, but also are usually just used for analytics and marketing and sales purposes, or hopefully nothing bigger than that. But anyway, so with with connecting all these other platforms, and why we ship so much and integrating with a lot of things, is that we can give more utility to this data that you've creating on these platforms and on your whole own internet journey. For example, like who you listen to Spotify or follow on Twitter, your reputational contribution badges, and from different issuers can all be utilized in a way, more colorful way, and without remaining on that singular platform, which is a great big unlock. It also it's really worth to mention that integrating with all these products and connecting them gives a lot of freedom for the user to pick methods and data providers and use as what. You know how Guild works. We are a very unopinionated, permissionless horizontal tool. We don't like to tell you how to use Guild. We are kind of just want to be the tool in your hand and then be able to use it how you'd like. And this continuing on this thought process, we really want to give the freedom to let the communities and let the users, the members, everyone decide what type of requirements do they want to set, what type of other platforms they want to connect the community to and connect roles to. This is a very big autonomy question that we'd like to evolve this way. So that's another really big one. I think this is like my fourth point, maybe. There's only one more, which is that one of my favorite words right now is granularity. I talk about a lot of the fact how community health is a really difficult thing to sustain and build over time. It's not a fast thing, but granularity of roles helps a lot in that, which is something that we've been struggling at this community lately a little bit. But with this endless combinations of requirements or data sources, we allow like way better operations and thus a healthier community. So, for example, with the new community strategy that we're also going to use soon, it uses a few more data sources that we've ever used before, and it allows us to create more granularity, more optionality in how we manage the community, which is super interesting. And I think this is a very big value for the sustainability of how the community interacts with one another and how like the individuals within the community, how they actually like being there. So being as granular, it could be like 1,000 people community, it could be 100,000 people community, but keeping that granularity of roles so that people can show up as themselves and still find places of value exchange because of these roles is, I think, a super underrated and very, very important step. So I'm very, very passionate about our mission with enabling this as well. So, kind of to summarize, Guild as a tool will always remain agnostic for chains, for products, and all of these. And we will never tell the users what to use. We'd like you to pick and let the communities decide what they want to use. This is kind of part of our long-term vision as well that we're going towards and execute on every day, is to help build this more open internet where people control more of their data and their whole experience. We really want to enable more with all these integrations and everything. We want to enable more interconnectedness with each other and with all the data that we've created on different platforms, because it's going to be a much nicer internet experience and our whole like everyday life when we can move the community from one platform to another. It's kind of like an endless, very automated user experience that we're looking for. And not bound to one single platform and have this like doom hanging over your head if you want to change over to something that suits the community way better, that the migration costs are going to be immense. So this is kind of the world we're building. This is the reasoning why we ship so much right now. Our plan is, I think, I haven't counted the last time, but I think we're around, correct me Hannah if I'm wrong, around like 27 integrations right now. Not including the 20 different chains that we're already on. Is that kind of correct?
Yeah, something like this. Yeah.
So we picked 27 other protocols, apps, and projects that are highly used in the Web3 space, and we expect to be still very used in the near future, or we were recommended by you guys, the community, the other founders, or anyone to integrate because they're much needed. We're working on way more. The integration powerhouse is still fired up. By the end of the year, we're still planning on integrating at least 10 more. We'll see how fast the shipping machine goes. So yeah, that's kind of the why behind what we're doing currently, and I really wanted you to know kind of the bigger picture of all these new integrations that we just keep on announcing every week. They are all for a purpose, and the purpose is as buzzwordy as it sounds, interoperability. So we can get into the current status now. I finished the monologue of whys.
Oh yeah. After talking about the future, let's talk about the present for a bit now. So some of you may have realized, but lately we've been facing with some issues, with some problems. It started at the end of October when we announced that on the bot status channel, bot status update channel, that we faced with some Discord API problems, some latencies, and it caused some delays with the role on assignments, unfortunately. And ever since it happened, we are still working on the role assignments. So the automated role assignments are currently disabled. So we are dealing with the community managers, the guild founders in private, and we are doing the role assignments manually on them in the moment. So if you're facing with any troubles, we are mostly aware of them, and we are doing the manual status updates. Besides this, we got some issues with the Galaxy integration in the past few days, and there was some API endpoint changes that we were working on, and we are still in touch with the team, and the solution is in progress. So no worries. We got a lot of tickets about it, but we are aware of it and we are working on it. There was another issue that was sent to the channel, the bot status update channel, which is the Connect wallet issue, which is still not resolved yet, but we are working on it also. So like the whole point of this community call is to be fully transparent, telling everyone like what is working in the back, what we are working on, and all these things. Besides this, there was another issue with the Twitter connection, which got resolved thanks to the guys behind Guild yesterday. So if you had any troubles with Twitter, just try it again, and hopefully there's going to be no troubles, so you can get your roles. That has the Twitter requirement with it. Besides this, I think that's all about the current status update, if I'm not mistaken. I got all this that is up now. So if you have any troubles, you know where to find us. There are the help centers open for you. So eventually we will get back to you in the tickets.
Awesome. Thank you so much. So yeah, we are very aware of the things going on right now, but working on solutions that are not just hot fixes, but actually make the situation way better for the long term. So bear with us a little bit, and if you have something going on, let us know. We'll get back to you probably without working on it or, or a solution already. So thank you. About new integrations. We already have announced a few that we haven't really talked about in depth yet, and we're not going to do that right now because we have a lot of community events, build with guilds or community stand-ups or community calls where we'd like to invite the founders of these projects, which are, I think we're fully booked till probably mid-December with these community events. So
Yes.
so we're
Correct.
not, yeah, I'm not going to talk too much about them, but we have announced Disco XYZ integration, 101.xyz, which a lot of you have already met, and the Maxi Quest Rabbit Hole integration, Orange Protocol integration, and there's two new ones added to the pile that we haven't announced yet. One of them is KYC DAO, which is an on-chain KYC verification project, and the other one is Cask Protocol. They are a Web3 subscriptions project. Also, not gonna say a lot of things about them. You can find them on the Googles if you write KYC DAO or Cask Protocol into it. You'd like to find out more, do that. Otherwise, we're gonna talk more when the time comes, when we have the founders on mic or when we do some more content with them for you to get to know their project. Also, another new update on one of the integrations is Mirror is one of the Mirror.xyz, the publication platform, has been one of the first integrations we had last year for their specific NFTs. Since then, they changed those NFTs, but now there's another NFT coming from Mirror that we could update in that integration, which is the NFT, which when you publish your entry on Mirror and then make it collectible, the NFT which people collect of your publication is the NFT that now we have integrated, so we can build a community around this, which is super interesting for the future of publications, I think, to build communities or roles around specific entry collections. So this is interesting, and a little bit more into the guild integration. That is a bigger announcement, is that now guild is a requirement on guild. We've been memeing this for a little bit, but I think it's super interesting. It came to idea when, well, we got this from a lot of you already, but it also came to core of our mind when we started talking about quests a little bit in August time, I think. But yes, so we integrated guild with a twist. So there's 4 types of requirements that you can use guild for. It is also, by the way, I think it's already in our UI as well. That the first one is that you must have a role in a specific guild. You can choose from the list of every guild that is visible in the guild hall, or you can also copy paste the URL of a hidden guild if you want to use that as the requirement. Second is you must be a member of at least a number of guilds, an X number of guilds. The third is to be an admin of X number of guilds. Oh no, sorry, to be an admin with a guild with X members in it. So not be an admin of multiple guilds, but be an admin of a guild that has an X number of members. And the fourth one is to be a guild user since ... date. The date, essentially, that's the date when you have connected your wallet and joined the guild for the first time, which is super cute and wholesome. So these are the 4 things we can use with the guild integration right now, which I absolutely love. This gives more circularity, or like this spiraling quest setting event that you can use other guilds roles as requirements. So you could say, for example, to keep little nouns as on the top of our minds, little nouns could say that if nouns had a guild, every person who is a member of the nouns guild can have this special role in the little nouns guild, for example, which is an interesting abstraction. So we'll play with this for sure, and I encourage you to also play with it. Yeah, let's jump into another integration, Hen.
Oh yeah, there's my personal favorite one, which is the Discord integration. I'm really happy, and I've been waiting for it for so long. Personally, I would say that this integration is the savior of our community strategy, the whole structure, how we are going to keep our space safe, which is basically, as the previous one, also has different kind of different types. There are 3 different types to choose from. So basically, when you're setting up the requirement, you can either say that the user must have a Discord account for at least X years, per month, or per days, whatever you wish for. Or either you can choose that the user have had a Discord account since at least a date that you choose from a list from the calendar. Or the third one is the user has been a member on a given server since a given date. So you would say that the person has to be a member on the Guild XYZ server since at least 1st of January or something like this. And like this, you can protect your own communities, for example, from spammers or co-op hunters or something like this, who, for example, just create a Discord account like 2 days beforehand or something like this. So you can just get your space cozy and safe from them. I've been waiting for this for so long. I'm so excited. So stay tuned. There's going to be something like this in the new requirement type also for us from tomorrow.
I can't wait. This is actually, both the guild and Discord integration has been something that we developed again, which is something that every product should do for our own usage. As you know, we love this community and love keeping it healthy. and constantly think about making it better, but also talk so much with other community managers and builders. And this came out of our own needs to have these requirements. So we can, this is the method that if you're building a product, can make sure that there's probably other people out there who have the same issues as you do. So I'm very excited to see you play with this. It's going to be great. Game changer. And it seems so simple. I feel like this already should have existed but didn't. So welcome new integrations. Another one, it's an update on our, I don't know if you guys have explored the new UI yet or not, but we do have a contract querying requirement for a while now. It's also in our general set of requirements. So tokens, NFTs, allow lists, and this contract state requirement, they're all in the general section. And we've pushed an update to it. This has been out for, I think, like a month at least. But now it has an update which allows proxy contracts to be viewed as well. But generally, this contract requirement, it has been possible to, apart from Harmony chain, every other chain that we're on, to use it for the read method of the contract. So whatever is in the read section of this contract that you're trying to use, we can use it for access management. So to give a tangible example, you could use staked or LP liquidity providing tokens as the requirement, which has never been possible before. I don't know of other access management projects that allow you to do this. This is a very niche use case, but sometimes it's super useful. So the upgrade to this is that now we support proxy contracts as well, which has been requested. If you guys don't know, a proxy contract is something, it's a contract that points to another one. So if there's an originating contract, they usually use proxy contracts to make it easier, but those job is to point to the original one, which made this access part a little bit more difficult, but we've added this little change and now it's possible. So that's the new update on that. And then, we also have new chains. Hannah, do you want to speak a little bit about that?
Yes, absolutely. So we're really happy to announce that, but currently there are 20 supported chains on Guild, of which there are 2 testnets, the Ringby, sorry, I cannot pronounce it normally, and the Girly. And besides these, there are 3 new ones, which is the Arbitrum Nova, the Moonbeam, and the Boba Avax L2. And the Moonbeam, we already announced it on our Twitter. I'm gonna share the tweet in the secret chamber so you can find it. But don't forget about the other 2 also, which we're gonna announce as well on our Twitter. So with all that, don't forget, we have 20 supported chains, and don't forget that when you are connecting on Guild, it doesn't matter which network you're using, like which chain you are connected to, because it's only used to know your address and sign messages. So each will work equally. So whenever, for example, you have one token on one kind of chain and you have another one on the other chain, it doesn't matter. We will detect it.
I think that's very cool. Like, I don't even have to. I don't think I ever got a message on Guild to switch networks, which is kind of the point of having an agnostic approach to the chains. The integration of chains merely means that we are getting information from these chains. So that's pretty cool. But on the user experience side, it doesn't matter which. To just reiterate, Hannah, it doesn't matter which you're connected to. All of them work pretty fine with Guild. One of our last little updates for you is we have a kind of major UI improvement. As you know, if you've ever created a guild, you know our cart system really well. It's been with us for a year, which looked like when you added a requirement, it was like this very aesthetic cart shape. And as you added more requirements to the same role, they kind of added onto the same structure, and it was like, it looked really nice. It had one problem. It's not space efficient whatsoever, And the amount of integrations we have and the amount of combinations of requirements you can add now, and a lot of the guild users add now to a role, we needed way more space to kind of showcase everything that guild can do now. So the improvement is a modal. If you guys don't know, it's kind of like a pop-up section. If you go into the new guild UI and try to add new requirement, the admin panel changed a little bit as well. It's more simplified with the add reward and add requirement section. It's kind of more unified. They look more similar and kind of more balanced. But the bigger requirement is the requirement cards have disappeared, which we might bring back at some point. But right now, with all the integrations, it wasn't working anymore. So very sad, but we let them go. And now we have this pop-up modal, which works in a way that there's this general requirements in the top section, which I said the custom contract query is also in, but the tokens, NFTs, and the allow lists that you've known before are also there. And then there's the integration section, which holds all the available integrations right now. You can scroll those, and then individually you can then paste the addresses, search on the search bar, or with the contract things, be a little bit more technical and enter more things. But it has given us a lot more space, and as we're going into the future, there has to be even better searchability with these requirements, because we're just going to keep on adding more. And since the little monologue I had about why we built so much, that we are just gonna get more of these, and hopefully very soon we can open up the infrastructure in a way that it's not only the guild team's capacity, how much integrations we have, but also other builders can add to it almost permissionlessly. This is what we're going towards, by the way. So we're gonna have so much more integrations on that little space. So we're gonna improve the searchability of that and the filters and everything. But for now, it works like this. And this pop-up section is helping that a lot. So we're welcoming this little new section here. Hope you guys like it and find it useful. If you have any feedback on it, please leave it in our feedback suggestion channel in the product section in the server. More than happy to read and reconsider everything. That we are building this product not just for ourselves, but most importantly you. So we'll be happy to listen. We could jump into our little news about Balancy, our query engine.
Oh yes. So also, like as Rika said, as well, if you have any feedback or suggestion, like we're really happy to use that dedicated channel for that one. Even about the next new update or fresh new thing that we're sharing. It's something it's an idea we came up with to make community admin's life easier, which is a new fresh thing on Guild XYZ, which is called the Balancy Playground. If you go to Guild XYZ, and you can see in the left corner, there's the guild sign, and under the navigation sign, you can find it. This is the last one. And so basically, what is it? This is the same kind of requirement setup that like UI that we had before. And it works like you can add the requirements that you have in mind, like potential requirement mixes with the and or NAND or NOR logics, anything that you have, anything that you imagined. And with that, with the playground, you can check your potential members, like how many potential member would you have if you would set up that requirement, and what is it for. You can calculate that, like how many eligible addresses are out there with the requirement setup that you have in mind. And the good thing is, after that, you just calculate it, you can copy or export these potential addresses as files. And for example, use these address lists for potential allow lists, requirements, anything that you wish for. And I'm gonna give the word to Reka so she can tell more examples, more ideas for you.
Yeah, so this essentially is an allow list maker at your service. I think we've talked about this before, but the improvement, as Hannah said, is just that it has its own little page. Before that, you'd have to pretend to create a guild and have access to this Valency query engine in the process of faking creating a guild. So like you could, since guild creation flow started with choosing a reward and then getting into already choosing the requirements, you could use this while you were setting the requirements and then export the potential members list. But now it has its own little playground. So what you could use this for is create any types of allow lists which can work for identifying members of a community. What we've been using this a lot with JokeDAO is every week there's a joke race and people get airdropped voting tokens if they're a part of a specific community, because every joke race is themed with a special guest community. So for example, if we'd like the Rehash community, which is a podcast, to be able to receive these voting tokens to participate in the voting for, you know, which episode to release next, what guests they want to have, or whatever the purpose might be of the voting, we would identify the members of this community by searching the Rehash NFT on Valency Playground and then exporting the addresses that hold these NFTs. This works based on blockchain data that is openly available, but it's kind of hard to scrape. So this gives like a very nice front-end experience for this process. And then we can download this number of addresses, which I think in the case of Rehash, it's not as many. It might be less than 20 people. We download this address in a CSV file, which is just a list of addresses. And then you can use this address list for so many things. You can use this with other tools like for airdrops like Coinvise or Disperse or any other airdropping applications you use, or you can use this to create a new role in Guild based on this allow list. You can use this to create adjacent project supporter roles or roles for other communities that make sense in your own community, so that if there's cross-pollination, if someone comes over to your guild, they instantly get a separate role, so you know that they came from that community, which I think is really useful for remembering or identifying members of other communities that you like or make sense for your community. Yeah, that's kind of a tangible example. I've been using it a lot with the JokeDAO for the joke races to identify members of. There's a community called LabDAO, and they don't have their own asset yet on chain, like a token or an NFT. But we could identify their members with Valency, with all the other adjacent token holders for the projects that they are identifying with. So it was very useful. And now it has its own little page, so you can access it anytime. So use this allow list maker wisely. Yeah, it's kind of it's now it's fun to make an allow list. I'd say you can just plug and play. It's very fun. Probably our last little thing, I'm getting into it right now, is we've had our native POAP integration for a while for distributing POAPs. We've also been using it for all of our community calls for a while now. We've been low-key testing it in our own community for quite some time and in a few other communities as well. But it's openly available. It's just not an announced feature because we still wanted to make sure that it works with alignment with what the POAP team prefers and what the community's experience and what we actually like about it or don't like about it. So there's an unannounced feature of it, which have been trying out with a few selected communities, which are paid POAPs, so that there's a small transaction. We built this payment processor for the distribution of POAPs, so that every time a person claims, they pay a small fee for it. There's a bunch of usages of these paid POAPs, but we have been experimenting with these and very proud that our analytics showed just one number of this experiment is there has been more than 10,000 unique members who have claimed a POAP through this payment processor. So it's working successfully. We might be announcing this soon / working it more to popularize it. I feel like payable POAPs are a little bit of a controversial topic in a sense that POAPs are just a free badge for being there, for participation. But I think maybe that's, I haven't checked yet with the POAP team specifically, but I think their goal with this is that it's also working as an NFT and also to reduce farming, which has been a big issue. So yeah, this was the last update. Kind of for our afterword. So to close things off soon, the TLDR of today is we got a little look into our new community updates, the growth, why we ship this so much, kind of our goals there. Another thing to remember from this call is that tomorrow our little MVP for community strategy starts, so be on the lookout on our guild for the changes, but hopefully it's gonna work automatically, so you'll be put in the respective roles automatically, but go on our guild if you have any questions about it or you're more interested in what happened. And yeah, that's kind of the TLDR. And play with all the new, we have a lot of different new integrations and a lot of UI changes. So even if you don't have a guild, just explore a little bit because it's magnificent. You can see the live progression of how the tool is maturing month by month. It's a pretty beautiful process.